County Safe Communities Coalition and the Onoto County Sheriff's Office are urging drivers to stay safe with a simple but crucial reminder. If you feel different, you drive different. Drive high, get a DUI. The High Visibility Impaired Driving Awareness Campaign runs through January 1st. Drivers can expect to see law enforcement officers actively working to keep the roads safe by identifying and removing drug-impaired drivers. This is a special time of year, and we're urging drivers to be serious about safe driving. Impaired driving is illegal and deadly, said Sergeant Alan Mekish. We cannot overestimate the importance of abstaining from driving after using drugs. If you plan to use, plan for a sober driver. No excuses. During this high-visibility period, we will monitor the drivers and enforce impaired driving laws. Research shows that drug use, including marijuana, significantly impairs driving abilities by slowing reaction times, impairing cognitive performance, and reducing the ability to maintain a steady lane position. Driving under the influence of drugs, even legal or prescription drugs, is a choice that could have life-saving consequences, added Mekish. For KBRFradio.com news, I'm Dave Bishop. Get more news at KBRFradio.com. Sign up for email news and right to your inbox, delivered by Cooper's Office Supply.
American Legion, the Minnesota Motor Company, and by the Artisan Agency. Here's KBRF Sports Director Greg Olson.
We felt that way too. I'm Sergeant First Class Daphne.
Next 2 weeks, okay? Over the holidays, we take a couple of weeks off. So the next 2 weeks, we will not be here for the show. So not until January something, whatever that date is in the January, not the first Saturday in January, but the second one. We will be back. I should have looked at that, right, Matt? Yeah. And oh, there we go.
Okay.
Should I turn your mic on? Would that help?
There we go. You got me?
It has been that kind of a morning. I'm telling
for
you,
all of us.
it has.
Yep, for sure.
Everybody that I've run into so far is like, what in the world's going on?
Yeah,
So
on the way here, I stopped and helped somebody who had run out of gas. And so I scrambled to get here on time as I pushed his truck across Union. So that was my morning, Craig.
hey, you get the merit badge for service here
Yeah.
today. So Matt Johnson is with us, the head coach of the Otter Boys basketball team. We're going to start the conversation there. I don't know, the first thing I said to Matt when I saw him this morning was you got kind of an earlier start to the holiday break than you wanted because of postponements. Well, they happen in winters in Minnesota, but they're never welcome.
No, you really you look at your schedule at the beginning of the year and you kind of pre-plan what each segment of that season looks like and when you may have a break or what games are maybe you're looking forward to at certain times. And I think we'll move this one to February 4th, the Little Falls game. And I think that's an okay date to move it. But what's already a long break heading into Christmas break got longer. And so we treated yesterday's practice like a game. We tried to get game legs, game lungs, kind of tax some guys a little bit, just conditioning wise. Games are different than practice. And we like to think we practice hard and condition well. But a game is different. It puts a different stress on your body. And so we tried to assimilate that a little bit yesterday. And hopefully that worked.
We'll see how it went, huh? Hey, you're on a roll there. You started the year with a loss and then have won 5 in a row. And you've put yourself in a couple of holes in some of those games against good teams. But the encouraging thing is you found a way to come back, to fight back. And last Saturday, maybe a good best example, maybe you beat West Fargo Cheyenne coming from behind to do so.
Yeah, that's a really good team. When you look at the eastern part of North Dakota, the EDC, I think they're a top 3 team in that. So you're playing a really good team that I would say is young and still figuring it out. But man, they made it hard for us in the first half, and yeah, the grit, resiliency, determination, pick your favorite adjective there, of our guys, it has been fun to see. I think that's a huge growth. We've put ourselves in some pretty bad spots in first halves, and we can talk about those halves differently, but the second halves, it's been fun to watch our kids find a way. And it's all started on the defensive end. We've been really connected and together, and showed really good fight. And so it's fun to see that. That's a maturation that is needed if we're going to beat really good teams. You're going to be in tough spots, and we should never look at each other this year and say, well, we can't overcome this, because we overcame a 20-point deficit where we didn't have anything clicking on either end of the floor. And so, yeah, it's been really, really fun to see that growth. And, when you have an experienced veteran team, you expect them to have that quality, but you don't know until you're in that spot. And so it's been really a treat to see.
Yeah, I would think as a coach, and I haven't been in that situation, but when you have a group of seniors like you do who fall behind like that, it's a different feeling on the bench. You're not panicking and thinking, oh, what are we going to do to get out of this? You're kind of like, okay, guys, now let's settle down and do what we do.
Right. Yeah, you try to stay the course, right?
Right.
Don't get too high, don't get too low, don't ride the emotional roller coaster that teenage kids can put you on. And so, that was the joke after. What'd you say at halftime? Well, we talked about what we do. It's not a magic formula. But there's a respect of the game that we talk about as well, and a respect of our opponents, and a respect for the details and doing things right. And I think in those first halves when we've built deficits, we haven't respected the game in the way we need to. Showing up isn't enough. We're talented. We're not that talented that we can just show up. And so if we don't talk defensively, if we don't guard the ball and take pride in keeping our guy out of the paint, then the game's hard. And on a night when a team shoots really well, and Cheyenne shot really well in that first half, I would say we aided that quite a bit. We gave them a lot of really, really good looks. Then the game is hard. And now you've dug a hole, and we have to have that determination to guard the ball, to communicate defensively, to share it offensively in the first half of games. And I think we saw a good response to that when we played Sartell. I thought we were super connected defensively. I thought we didn't get beat. Our guys took pride. We were coaches spend so much time talking with teams about help defense and how do we rotate, and I think we're really good at it. The problem is you actually don't ever want to be in rotation, guys. And I think they kind of get to a point of, well, we worked on it so much, this is what we want. No. We don't want to be in rotation. We want you to guard your guy, no help required, and then we'll be even better. And that was a aha moment maybe for us as a team going into Sartell. So I like where we're heading defensively.
Yeah, that's a good feeling when you feel like as a coach, hey, they're getting it. They understand,
Yep.
Yeah.
Take pride in that.
Absolutely. Well, you got West Fargo Cheyenne 72-65 as a final, and like you said, coming out against Sartell was much better, and you dominated that one by a pretty big margin there, 67 to 46. And we've talked a lot about your three-headed monster with Henry Bethel and Ryan Hurst and Levi King, and they've been so steady, consistent for you in double figures and capable of double doubles and all that. But you've got more pieces, and we've talked about that a little too. But it was fun to see Alex Ellison go out and play, and you made comments about Alex's total game. He had 17 to lead you on the offensive end, but you liked what he did on the defensive end too.
Yeah, he's a kid who we've leaned on a lot the last couple of years. It started as a junior, and a lot of that is what he does defensively, physically. He's a big, strong kid, good athlete, good communicator. Has come so far defensively over the course of his high school career. Came into high school really as a scorer, and I thought that was kind of his label, and he's evolved into a really well-rounded player. And I thought early this season his defense wasn't very good. It wasn't where I think it needs to be, and so we had a good conversation about guarding the ball. And then it's funny how when you make a couple shots, how much easier the defensive end comes to you. There's a kind of a relaxing, refocusing that happens. And so he got to see the ball go through the hole a little bit. Yeah, scored 17. And I think he was 3 for 3 from 3, and just looked so confident and comfortable. And it translated to the defensive end. A lot of times we say defense creates offense. And for Alex, I thought his offense created a defensive monster. I thought he was really good. He was up in passing lanes, deflections, steals, leading to offensive breaks. So I thought that was his most well-rounded game he's had as an Otter. So it was really fun to see.
I'm a stat guy. I love stats.
Yep.
I think any of you probably love stats.
Do.
Point guard. You
Yep.
got to love that. So you mentioned a word that I think has become more and more a focus and that's deflections. That never used to be a stat category that you looked at,
Yep.
but it seems like it's appearing more and more, deflecting, disrupting the offense. And with the shot clock, that can be huge.
It is. Coach Strand is a guy who's really big on that. He talks about getting touches. And so during a game, if you're in the gym, you'll hear get a touch, and we're really talking about get a deflection, impact the ball, make the offense think, make them hesitate. Are they gonna get a touch here? Is that a passing window I can get to, or not? And so yeah, this team is as good as any I've been around in getting those touches. It's a really hard thing at the high school level to stat. Our stat program does stat it, and you might see a game where we're in the mid 20s. I think at the collegiate level, when you have 7 assistant coaches and 35 grad assistants and a bunch of student managers, some of those stats are a little easier to track. So it's a tough one to get to. But certainly, I think for us in a game that has 65-ish defensive possessions, we'd love to have half of those have a deflection or a touch that we've impacted. Get into that 30, 35 range would be a game where you're really impacting the game defensively.
Yeah, it can be so frustrating for the other team's offense to just not ever be able to get into what they want to do because you're constantly disrupting that plan. Jack Ratz, we talked about Jack, I think, last week about his stat line, like 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 steals, 8 points. That's a Jack Ratz game. I'm going to Jack because you made a comment in one of your reports about how you're loving to see the improvement of guys and the accepting of roles and identifying roles, and that's kind of important early in the year to establish that. And it seems like that's been a real plus for you. And how much do you enjoy that as a varsity coach when you get guys? You mentioned Alex Ellison came in with the label of a scorer. Well, now you got to try to make him more of a complete team player and fit him into this group that you have at the varsity level. How much do you enjoy that as a coach?
It's really fun to see kids evolve, right? And I talk about maturity. I think being willing to accept your role and then learn how to star in your role is a hard thing to do. Everybody would love to average 25 a night and be the guy that leads in scoring. That gets the most shots. That's every kid dreams of that, and the reality is that's not the case for everybody. So how do you make us the best team possible? And I have huge kudos to Jack, and Jack's our best communicator and our best screener, right? So Jack has skills that they don't chart communication, they don't chart talking, they don't chart good screens. They should. It should be like a hockey assist, right?
Yeah,
they
right.
They should chart that. And you should get your name in the paper for that. Those are 2 skills that he has that go above and beyond anybody else on our roster. We had the Apollo and Cheyenne nights were second half. We kind of got rolling with lineups, and we stuck with lineups. So Jack was one who didn't get a ton of minutes in those second halves, and his body language and his communication with his teammates at the end of the game was celebratory. Mudita is a word we use, genuine joy for others. And he displayed that, and that's a high character quality, right? That's a kid who is going to be a great husband, employee, dad someday because it's not always all about him.
Yeah.
And we talk about basketball a lot, but ultimately, without realizing what he's doing, he's showing really high character because he was able to not focus on his own. He'd love to be out there.
Yeah.
Right? And so there's frustration there, right? That's natural. But he was able to get above and beyond that and be happy for his team because ultimately we're looking for team success. So yeah, love Jack. Love the energy he brings to our program. Great kid.
Yeah. Big weekend coming up here. This is when a lot of alumni are around. They can come and talk to the coach, and you've got your holiday tournament, and you've got some pretty good teams coming in on the boys' side.
Yeah, we'll love holiday break. We're giving our kids more days off this year than usual. I think you kind of look at the dynamics of a team, the schedule, what fits, doesn't fit. So we won't see our guys again until the 26th. So we're giving them a pretty good break here to rest, get away from it all a little bit, and we'll come back practice 26th, and then the 27th we play Worthington. It's always fun to have a team from outside of our area come in that we don't know a whole lot about, have not had a chance to study a lot about them yet. And then we would have either Morris or Henning on game 2, two really, really quality teams, experienced teams. So looking forward to the tournament. Great opportunity to come watch some Otter hoops. If you like full days in the gym, there have some opportunities there on the 27th, 28th.
And JV going too. So.
Yeah, everybody's playing. Boys, girls, JV, varsity. I think games start at 11 in the morning, and last one usually tips close to 8 o'clock. So it's a full day in the gym.
Hats off to whoever originally planned all these home tournaments over the holidays, because it's not that much fun to travel.
No,
we're
fortunate to get to be at home, and I'm thankful for Nick Keel and some people who put in a lot of time to make it a reality for us.
And Nick is to broadcast those games, so he's probably looking forward to that too, I bet. I'd rather do that than ref. It's easier.
I'm guessing so. You get yelled at less.
Yep. Service Food Holiday Classic.
Service Food, yep.
Yeah, so, it's come up Friday and Saturday. We'll have all the varsity games involving the Otters on Channel 9, or let's see. Yeah, on Leighton Media Stations. It's on, it's right here on News Talk 1250 KBRF for that. So.
Awesome.
All right, Matt, thank you. Have a good day.
Appreciate it.
Matt Johnson earning the merit badge already today for service to the community. And we'll take a time out. We'll come back. We're going to talk Otter Boys swimming. Randy Hansen is here. Don't go away. You're listening to our Coaches Show on News Talk 1250 KBRF and through the Fergus Now app.
Nelson Auto Center in Fergus Falls has a fantastic starting lineup with America's 3 favorite truck brands, Ford, Ram, and GMC. Nelson Auto can help you enjoy your time out on the road. Check out our starting lineup at Nelson Auto Center, Fergus Falls.
Hi, my name is Lori, and I'm the housing manager at Sheridan House in Fergus Falls, Minnesota. If you're 55 or older and looking for a quiet and comfortable apartment with underground parking, meals available for purchase, a flexible month-to-month lease, plus $500 off your first month's rent, give me a call at 218-998-7404 or go to lbhomes.org/Sheridan. I'd love to show you around and see if Sheridan House is right for you.
You want to feel important? You want to be part of something bigger, something that matters, and that you can help change things. You want to feel like you belong. We felt that way too. I'm Sergeant First Class Daphne Pierre from Robbinsdale, Minnesota, and that's why we did something about it. We aren't just Minnesota Army National Guard soldiers. We are people just like you, and together, we can make a difference. Take on your legacy. Visit nationalguard.com/MN to find out more. Sponsored by the Minnesota Army National Guard, aired by the Minnesota Broadcasters Association and this station.
Grant County. Your news leader is News Talk 1250 AM KBRF Fergus Falls. Depend on it.
Christmas, so we won't be here next Saturday or the following Saturday. And then once we get back to the schedule in early January, we're 10 weeks in a row with the program. Randy Hansen's here, the head coach of the Otter Boys swimming and diving team, and the Otters had their Tom Uvis Otter Invitational last weekend to begin their season, and you took first place, which was one step up from last year.
It was great. Yeah, it was a really competitive meet, and kind of came down to the last couple events, which is awesome. And yeah, we walked out with a victory, which is a great way to start the year. 539
points and 517 for Montevideo, the runner-up. Bemidji third with 497. That's some pretty tight scoring there. And one of those meets, Randy, where everybody is important. If you finish third instead of fourth, that could be huge.
Yeah, we score more places than normal, and then there's also the weird events that we throw in there that score just as much as everything else. So we, I forgot to put in my comments, but Riley Anderson, who's a sophomore and has been working his tail off, he won the 50 backstroke, and that was 20 points, just like winning the 100 backstroke by Reese was. So those things add up in a hurry. And so it was a great team win for us for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I was looking at that and thinking, boy, even a couple of events that aren't normally there, they're doing pretty good in that. So
Yeah.
what does that say about depth in those events when you have some of these younger guys swimming the shorter distance and looking at the future? Do you have some depth in that event and also in the butterfly?
Yeah, I wouldn't go too terribly far into depth, like,
The IM.
but yeah, we're probably deeper than I thought we would be. But the depth when you get a team that's as small as we are is not going to be real deep. We're really good on the top end, and our young guys just need to start learning and competing more. And that's, I'm not criticizing them at all. They just need to make that next jump, and they're starting to learn, and they're working much harder in practice than they even did as freshmen and things. So it's coming. It just takes a little while, and so you got to cultivate that depth a little bit, and I mean, like I tell them in practice, everybody and their brother can swim freestyle or backstroke, and want to do that, but it's the off strokes. How many of you want to swim the longer strokes? How many of you want to swim, butterfly? There's going to be places on the roster for that in relays and different events. So if you keep working in practice and do those things and, kind of put that together, you've got a spot. And so that's what we try to preach. And it's, of course, easier said than done, of course.
Well, getting the 2 extra events like that just gives you more opportunities to get guys into a race. So
Right, for sure.
that was good to see. Let's talk relays because you mentioned it was tight at the end. Well, you've got pretty good confidence in that 400 freestyle relay. If you're in a tight meet and that's your final event, you got to feel pretty confident.
Yeah, that one went pretty well. We were pretty excited about that time that they put up. It's pretty salty this time of year already. So that there's a kind of a database that all the meets from around the state get put in. You can parcel out by section and by conference and by A or AA, and we're sitting pretty good. And it's a long way to go. So I'm not getting excited about anything, but I mean to swim, that's the fastest we've swam that relay last year, even before the section. So our section meet time was faster than that, but we never swam that time during the season, and that was the first meet of the year. So I don't know what that means, but it means that they're experienced and they're swimming really well. So it'll be fun to see what happens with those 4.
Record time in reach here?
At some point, yeah. I mean, they have to average. We did the math. They have to average a 48.75. Which is pretty quick. So it is possible, but this year I would be surprised. Next year when all 4 of them will grow even more, and there's always going to be people knocking on the door to want to be on that relay too. So that just breeds even more, more competition. So it's possible. I would be surprised this year, but next year's probably more of a realistic possibility. Yeah.
Boy, that's kind of nice to know. Hey, we're this good this year, but we're all coming back next year.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it is exciting.
Yeah. Well, and they'll be motivated,
Right,
I'm sure.
Sure.
And you've got a couple of those guys in the 400 freestyle relay who swim together on the 200 freestyle relay right now also. How do you like the way that relay is progressing?
Yeah, and that's always just a work in progress too. So, Gabe Carlson was on that for the meet on Saturday, and then our meet on Thursday that got canceled with Apollo. We were going to mix it up a little bit. I can't remember. Gabe was off that. He was going to swim a 400 free relay, and I think Lucas Toole was going to be on that one instead. So, we're still mixing it up and trying to see what the best combination is. So that probably is going to be the one that's going to be the most in flux all year. The 4 guys, Reese, Matthew, Landon, and Jaden are pretty solid in that 400 free relay. There might be a couple people that, challenge that could knock on the door, but those 4 are definitely the best 400 freestylers right now. And then the medley is pretty well set as well. Maybe not. I mean, we might be mixing a few things up, but it's pretty much set. But that 200 free relay is going to be kind of influxed as far as who's swimming what and where, and so we'll see how it shakes out.
Is there a stroke in the 200 medley relay that is more likely to change periodically, or are you pretty set in all 4 of the strokes?
Well, it just depends on how we want to do it. So if Reese doesn't swim backstroke and swims butterfly, then we got to find someone to swim backstroke, and so that could be it could be Gabe, it could be Lucas Toole, it could be a few others. So Jaden could also swim butterfly, but then we need a freestyler. And so who do we put that? So we can move some people around, and we definitely will. When we get to a meet like against Brainerd or Sartell, who's really, really good, we'll shuffle that relay up a little bit because you never want the 4 guys swimming all this. Towards the end of the year, yes, but
right.
in a dual meet like we just want to move things around and just see what happens, and maybe we strike gold without even knowing it. So so we'll see. We got a lot of moving parts that will be interesting to see, but ultimately it'll probably be Lucas and the 100 in the butterfly leg on that one.
There's a lot to this coaching, isn't there? I mean, a lot of strategizing and just moving the pieces around, getting the strengths and matchups.
Especially when you have a smaller team, trying to find guys that can swim different events. You never want to leave a bunch of events empty. We already have to leave diving empty, but we want to make sure we maximize that. So how many guys can I get in the 100 fly that can actually do the 100 fly? How many guys can I get in the breaststroke that can do the breaststroke legally? So that's why we keep preaching, work on those strokes, because there'll be spots for you.
Now, you had some first place finishers. Reese won 2 events, both of the backstroke and the IM, and you had Matthew Toole take a first, and who am I missing? Landon Vodova?
Yep, Landon won the 100 freestyle. Yep. Yeah.
So you have the blue chippers there that can do that.
Yeah.
You feel like those guys are kind of favorites, like almost every meet. Now, there are teams, obviously, where they're not going to be the favorite, but they've always got that chance to get that blue ribbon.
They'll be in there. So, the 200 IM, Jaden Kopinski is going to be faster in that than Reese is. He'll be our best 200 IMer if that's what he's going to continue to swim for the rest of the year. So, on our next home meet on the 2nd versus Sauk Rapids, they'll come to town, and they've got a all-state guy, Cash Walls, who's got one of our pool records, and he'll swim the 200 IM, and good for Jaden. He'll give him a run, but that guy is really, really good. So, but we'll have guys that'll always be in that for sure, and be knocking on the door with them. So, I can kind of pencil those guys in and know that I'm going to get some points out of them. It's where am I going to get other points that, in some of these meets that makes it the tricky part.
Okay, so going to that question, what did you learn from the Otter Invitational, the UVIS Invitational, about that question? Where are you going to get some points, do you think?
Well, we've got more depth in the 200 IM than we thought. So we went 1, 2, 3 in that, which was kind of a nice surprise. So that was good. And Ethan Strandy really showed that he's going to be able to put some of that together. His butterfly's coming along really well. And Lucas was a great 200 IMer for us last year. So there's that. And some of our younger guys with freestyle have come along quite a ways. I already mentioned Riley with the backstroke, and his freestyle has been really, really good this year. He's still a sophomore. He's still learning. His body's still kind of wiggly in the water. But he's definitely getting stronger. And Armand Jefferson, who's also a sophomore, is coming along for us as well. So those are the guys that we need them to step up and take some of those open spots. So we did learn a lot. I was hoping to learn more on Thursday, but we didn't because we didn't have a meet, but that's okay. And we'll just keep plucking away.
Yeah, that's always frustrating. You got your plan and you're going for that duel, and then all of a sudden, not only do you not have the duel, but you can't practice. So
yeah, and it's not the end of the world not to practice, this early. So it was probably okay to have a day off, but the Apollo's not a very deep team and not a very big team. So, I was liking our chances with that one. So now, unfortunately, that's moved to February, which is, what it is. But now we just have a longer stretch where we don't compete because we don't go until January 2nd.
So how do you handle that? It's not like, Matt said, we'll see our basketball guys on the 26th. You can't do that. You wait that long to get them back in the water.
Yeah, no, we practice all Christmas break, so we don't stop for anything. So, we'll practice today and we'll practice Monday, and then we give them Christmas Eve, Christmas Day off, and then we're back at it in the weight room and in the pool. And, the thing about swim practice, too, is you can do kind of like recovery sets, but then you also have like super hard sprint sets. I like to tell them, when you hit the wall at the end of one of these, you should forget what your name is. You should be just that tired and you have no idea where you're at. So, so we can do that kind of stuff, which I think is probably harder in a basketball. They can run hard, hard plays and hard sets and stuff, but we can just push them to the limit and simulate some of that stuff like a meet, probably better than some other sports. But you can't do that for a whole practice. We're going to practice for 2+ hours over Christmas break every day, and there's no way you can sprint the whole thing. But we can mix in some things, and so it'll be okay. But like anything, competition is real competition is where it's at, and we just have to wait a little bit.
Practice plans, are you pretty set? Do you have a pretty good resources that you've built up in your years as an assistant coach and a head coach or are you still looking? Are you going online looking for new sets, new
Always,
challenges?
yeah,
Okay.
always. You know, and I don't spend time on Instagram. Nobody cares about anything like that. But I somehow get, you know, the little bit that I'm on there, somehow I get these swim videos and swim techniques and stuff. And I've picked up a few things from that. And Coach Zozel, I was always looking at stuff. So he was a big proponent of us getting these socks, these mesh bags, basically, that we wear sometimes for some sets, which makes it really hard to swim. And a lot of teams do that. And so, you know, so we're always looking. You know, I got a lot of stuff from Coach Uvis, a lot of stuff that we've been doing for years, which is awesome. But, you know, there's other newer, interesting things there, too. And we create some stuff just off the top of our head, too. We want things that we want to accomplish. We like, well, this set, this will put these things together. And it's just like you're cooking a meal, you know, you put these things together and it turns out well.
Hopefully.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Yeah.
All right, Randy, thanks so much for being in. Congratulations on a great start to the season, and enjoy the holiday break.
Yeah,
I think
it'll be good.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Randy Hansen, head coach of the Otter Boys swimming and diving team. We're back to basketball after this timeout. Josh Steer will be here, and we'll talk Otter girls basketball, so don't go away. You're listening to the Coaches Show on News Talk 1250 KBRF and streaming live through the Fergus Now app.
Here's to a great season for all our favorite high school athletes. American Legion is a favorite too and serves up everyone's favorite barbecued ribs. American Legion of Fergus Falls, open each Wednesday through Saturday on Pebble Lake Road in Fergus Falls.
I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki with your forecast from the KBRF Weather Center. Cloudy skies expected today with daytime highs approaching 17. Southeasterly winds 10 to 20 miles per hour. Lows level off around 13. Tonight, partly cloudy skies. Daytime highs approaching 25. Tomorrow, cloudy skies with a few peaks of sun. A dusting of snow tomorrow night. Currently 10 above.
Finding that missing shin guard. Remembering whether it's a home or away game. Getting the right kid to the right playing field on the right day. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. We work with independent agents who keep insurance simple so you can worry about more important things. Like not being that fan. Oh, come on, Ref! That's simple human sense.
Visit the Arneson Agency at their new location, 120 East Lincoln, Fergus Falls.
Quality Toyota is proud to salute the achievements of each quality player. It takes teamwork to compete, and the Quality Player Award recognizes the extra effort by an individual in each athletic contest. Quality Toyota commends the hard work, dedication, and quality efforts of these outstanding youth. That attitude will help each quality player as they go forward. Congratulations to each of the quality players from Quality Toyota on West Lincoln Avenue in Fergus Falls. QualityToyota.net. Let's go places.
Josh Steer joins us now, the head coach of the Otter girls basketball team, and the Otters played last Saturday against Fargo Davies and got beat 47-43. They're 5-2 now, and then had a game postponed against Perham on Thursday that we don't have a makeup date for yet. So you've been off for a whole week as far as competition goes. You weren't counting on that, Josh.
That was not in the plan. No, that was not on the schedule for us. So unfortunately, Mother Nature dealt us a blow on Thursday, but, you know, it's we roll with the punches. We live in Minnesota. We don't have any poisonous snakes or anything that'll really get you. So I guess we'll take a snowstorm every once in a while. But, yeah, you know, looking back a week ago, last Saturday to Davies, that's the only action we've had on the real action that we've had, and then we've had a lot of practice time in between.
As far as Davies goes, they came at you pretty aggressively early in the game. Talk about how that one started and how it kind of put you, behind the eight ball for a while.
Yeah, you know, we looking at the film before that game, we knew that they were going to come in and play a style of defense that was similar to like, a Sartell or East Grand Forks, and that had given us some troubles. But I don't think going into that game, I don't think anybody would have said that it was going to be a game played in the 40s. You know, I was kind of thinking it would probably be two unfamiliar teams with lots of scoring out there. You know, they've got a couple of really nice players in number 2 and number 5, and we have girls that can score too. So I was kind of thinking the opposite when going in. I was thinking maybe, not familiar with each other's offenses and thought we could maybe get some things. But they came out and they defended really, really well. I think we defended really well too. If you look at our 2 losses on record, we lost 50-49 to Sartell, and then 47-43 to Davies. And anytime you're giving up 50 and 47 points, I mean, when you give up 47 points, you should probably win the game.
Yep.
So offensively, we didn't do our jobs, but defensively we did. So there's a takeaway. But when you look at those games, we have to look at moving forward, not necessarily the result, but why. Why did we lose those games in close fashion? And the biggest thing that I can take away from those is physicality. I don't think on the offensive side we're handling physicality particularly well. And when teams come up and they blitz or double off of a ball screen, we get ourselves into trouble. So luckily we've had a lot of practice time to work on that this week, and we've been trying to fine tune those things that we think are kind of our weaknesses right now.
Well, that's why you practice, right?
Right. Yeah.
Like coaches like to say, the other team practices too, right?
Right.
And,
the other team wants to win too.
so. That's right. So, well, it's good. The video thing you mentioned, watching film, and that is such a help now compared to the way it used to be years ago. You didn't have all the resources that we have now. But how much time do you spend as a coaching staff or with your kids individually or as a team going through video and dissecting things?
Yeah, it's really cool. Huddle has, everything you can dream of, and I'm sure my wife and kids really appreciate the fact that you can get all these games like on Huddle or stream, so you don't have to scout anymore, really.
Right.
Some old folk, or not old folks, some old fashioned. There we go. Old fashioned people still like to go to the gym, maybe, and there's things that you can't see on film. When you're looking at 2 teams, you're kind of wondering, okay, are they fast? How big are they? Things like that you can't really tell on film, but yeah, it's amazing. And then Huddle has this cool feature, like it'll actually tally up your minutes or hours watched, and you can go and see how many hours of film you've watched. And when I look at it, and I can see as the head coach, I can see everybody else's, and it's really interesting to see how many hours, especially the coaching staff spends watching film. And I know me personally, it's kind of like every waking hour, it's on your mind, so you're watching film, because then if you're watching the film, you can actually have like constant thoughts as opposed to just laying in bed thinking about it.
Right.
So it adds up. It's a lot of hours in a week, and the kids watch a lot of film too. Just yesterday during school, I popped open my laptop and a couple of kids walked by and we were watching some DL film. So it's a really cool tool, and technology can be a benefit too sometimes.
Now the kids can get the video too, right?
Yep, absolutely. So they can
yep,
they can log in and they can watch whatever film that
Wow.
we have in the library, and they can look at reports, and
Yeah.
it's a pretty cool tool.
Oh, absolutely.
I tell them to go on that instead of TikTok.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah,
a really good
it's-
plan.
Yeah. Do your homework first, but then then
Yes.
watch film.
Yeah. And stay out the video games, watch the film.
Yeah, right.
So after the tough start against Davies, what did you like about the response? How you came out in the second half and competed and battled after falling behind?
Well, I really liked it. I feel like if we would have come out with that kind of energy and that kind of physicality right away, we'd have been sitting in a different result. Because I think we responded pretty well at halftime, and Bella Anderson, I think, figured some things out on how to play through some contact, and some of our girls know how to play through contact, and some of our girls, as soon as there's a sign of resistance, we kind of back off. I think about when we're driving to the basket, you'll get that hand on, which is legal. The defender will put a hand on you, and then you're like, okay, I'm done. I'm not going to go to the basket anymore. You won. And you have to think the opposite of that. You have to think, how can I get to the rim? How can I lean into that contact? How can I turn the corner to get to the basket as opposed to just dribbling around the 3-point line? So I think we figured some things out. I'd like to think we figured some things out. Watching the film, the second half looked a lot different. And in the first half too, we missed a lot of shots inside. It's not like we weren't getting looks. The shooting percentage was lower because the defense was a little bit uncomfortable for us. but we had opportunities early on, and we didn't capitalize on them.
You mentioned Bella. Boy, she has had a couple of pretty good games for you here in this first part of the season, and she can be a real force for you if she gets that mentality you're just talking about, fighting through some things, because she could be a physical player. She's a good rebounder, seems to have a real knack for, finding the ball off the rim, off the backboard, and could be a real plus for you throughout the season.
Yeah, in conversations with her, we've talked about you are one of those players that can make us scary. That can kind of raise some eyebrows and you know what you're going to get in Brand, you know what you're going to get in Ruby, you know what you're going to get in Hattie, and Julie Hychek coming off the bench is giving us great numbers, and Carly Hurst works really, really hard, and those kids can all be those X factors too. But Bella Anderson, if you've got a 5'11" frame, long arms, you get a ton of deflections, you get a ton of rebounds, you're impacting the game. I can't remember what game it was, where I don't think she scored a point, and I was in awe, because I was like, how did you not score a point? Because you had such a great game, and it's because she impacted the game in every other capacity, measurable or not, and scoring wasn't one of them. And you can still have a good game without scoring a whole bunch of points, and right. she's getting that figured out, and I think if you offensive rebound too, you give yourself some opportunities to score. So I think some kids are starting to figure some things out as we are only 7 games in.
Yeah, I love, we were talking with Matt about roles, accepting roles and excelling in the roles that you do accept and that you're asked to perform. And boy, you've got some role players that are doing the job. You mentioned Carly and Julia. They each had 7 rebounds in that game, and they're aggressive players. They attack the basket. They go after you. You've got so many neat pieces out there for a team, I think, to come together. It's going to be fun to watch this team progress and develop as they learn to understand the roles, and then go out and execute.
Yeah, as a coach, it's kind of like putting a puzzle together, and sometimes those puzzle pieces, they might change shape on you a little bit, and you kind of have to move on the fly, because these kids change over time, and they improve over time, and they might bring something to the table or to the team that you need to win. I heard Coach Johnson talking about it this morning, team success, and how can you get that mentality of, I need to do what the team needs me to do, not what I want to do. Right. And that's really hard, because I think human nature tells you otherwise, right? So how can you put something else before your own desires? And that's kind of been the message. And I think these girls so far have really enjoyed playing with each other, and really enjoyed that, the process of the fact that, you only get one season, and you only get 27 guaranteed opportunities to play basketball this year, with a guaranteed playoff game and 26 games. So how can you take advantage of every opportunity that you get? And, looking at a couple of the games, have we played a complete 36-minute game yet? No, I don't think we have. And there's lots of factors that go into that. So I think our best basketball is yet to be played. But I think we have a lot of pieces in place that, not too much pressure on the coaching staff, but we have to put those pieces together. And I think as we move along here, I think we're going to be a pretty scary team as we move along, because I think our ceiling is pretty high. I think there's a lot of potential for this team. So that being said, we've had plenty of time to get to work, but we want some more games too. And I'm really looking forward to the holiday tournament.
Let's talk about that. Service Food Holiday Classic is coming up Friday and Saturday, JV and varsity games. Talk about the field of teams that are coming in for the girls. You open with Detroit Lakes on Friday.
Yeah, so Detroit Lakes is the opener. They're now a conference opponent for us. So by having them come to our Christmas tournament, that's always counted as one of our 2 games that we play with them. It's just a nice way to get that game in and have a home tournament, because if they didn't come, we'd have to find somebody else, and that's not always the easiest, because everybody wants to be at home for Christmas. But so they're coming in. Big Lake and Thief River are opposite of us. Big Lake, I think, is struggling to find an identity right now. I don't know what happened there. I think they have a new coach this year. I think they maybe had a girl or 2 that maybe didn't come out. They're sitting at 0-4 right now. But Thief River, on the other hand, is 6-1, I believe, and playing really, really well. So So they're on the other side of us, and then we'll play the winner or loser of that, depending on result of DL on Friday night.
7:30 start for that one on Friday. Nick Keel will be covering the action here on News Talk 1250 KBRF, and then the Otters will play the early evening game on Saturday against one of those two teams, Big Lake or Thief River. And actually, those games on Saturday are 4:45 for the girls, and then 6:30 for the guys. So, and JV gets to play too, which is good.
Yeah, plenty of basketball to be had. I really appreciate Matt Johnson getting some workers lined up, and Nick Keel, all the work that he's done, getting sponsors. And it's amazing. Service Food is sponsoring the tournament this year, and Socials Bar and Grill is sponsoring our 3-point competition, I believe. So it's great to have those businesses support. You know, we talked about it, I think, last week about Minnesota Motors and how they paid the bill for lots of activities for admissions and stuff like that. So we're really fortunate to be in a community that supports us.
I would love to see a coach's horse competition as a part of the tournament.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Like a horse. What do you mean? Like
play horse?
Oh!
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about like are we gonna ride horses?
No,
horse competition.
Do they still play horse? Maybe.
Oh yeah,
okay.
They should.
Yeah,
absolutely. Horse competition. I don't know.
I think that'd be interesting.
That would be very interesting.
Yeah.
There'd be some good shooters out there.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It'd be kind of fun. Just fans would love it.
And we can't have defense.
No defense.
I mean, that's just asking for injury.
That is for sure. Oh, you put that one in the plans, and we'll.
All right, sounds good. We'll work that in some halftime entertainment, maybe.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Josh. Appreciate you coming in. Merry Christmas to the Steers.
Thanks, Mr. Olson. We appreciate you, and Merry Christmas.
Thank you. We'll take a time out and come back. We're going to talk some hockey. We'll find out what's happening with the Otter boys first. A little later on, Otter girls conversation, but boys hockey next up. After this timeout, you're listening to the Coaches Show on News Talk 1250 KBRF and streaming live on the Fergus Now app.
Quality Toyota is proud to salute the achievements of each quality player. It takes teamwork to compete, and the Quality Player Award recognizes the extra effort by an individual in each athletic contest. Quality Toyota commends the hard work, dedication, and quality efforts of these outstanding youth. That attitude will help each quality player as they go forward. Congratulations to each of the quality players from Quality Toyota on West Lincoln Avenue in Fergus Falls. QualityToyota.net. Let's go places.
High-quality local embroidery for your community. Running Stitches is the choice for everything, from business logos to team apparel and personal projects. They bring your designs to life. Andrew and Allison Olson from Running Stitches Embroidery are proud supporters of local sports.
At Wheelchairs for Warriors, serving America's heroes is our mission. With your support, we serve veterans and first responders injured in the line of duty across the United States of America, providing them custom fit, complex rehab mobility solutions to ensure they rejoin their lives at the highest level of independent mobility and function possible. Join the mission at wheelchairsforwarriors.org.
You want to feel important? You want to be part of something bigger? Something that matters and that you can help change things? You want to feel like you belong? We felt that way too. I'm Sergeant First Class Chris Urick from Glencoe, Minnesota, and that's why we did something about it. We aren't just Minnesota Army National Guard soldiers. We are people just like you, and together we can make a difference. Take on your legacy. Visit nationalguard.com/MN to find out more. Sponsored by Minnesota Army National Guard, aired by the Minnesota Broadcasters Association and this station.
And we welcome you back to the program, our Saturday Coaches Show. Next 2 weeks, we will not have the show over the holidays. We'll be back the second Saturday in January. We're talking boys hockey right now. Isaac Young is here. Isaac is a former Otter, 21 grad, and he's back in Fergus Falls on the bench as a coach with his former coach, Mike Donahue, and another former Otter, Pete Johnson, who are coaching the Otters. So, Isaac, how did you wind up in this position, and what are you expected to do as an assistant coach? What's your role with the Otters?
Well, how got started, Mike found out I was back in town this year for the winter now, and he asked if I wanted to come help coach, and I said, sure, sounds fun. And then my role, so I do most of the JV stuff, and then I help out with a lot of varsity stuff too.
What can you tell us about the JV? We talk a lot about the varsity, and I know you get a chance to visit with Mark on the broadcast occasionally about what's going on with the JV. But what can you tell us about the numbers at that level and the progress you're seeing early on in the season?
If we have everybody healthy, we got a full lineup. We got 3 lines, 4D, and a goalie. But we've been fighting a lot of injuries recently, so we're juggling guys around between both teams. So it's a little bit of a battle right now, but they've improved a lot better within the systems and discipline. So it's been good.
So when did you kind of get the bug to, do some coaching in hockey? Have you always kind of wanted to experiment with that?
I think so. Throughout juniors, I kind of got more and more interested into it. Just, with our coaches out there, they're a lot of fun, and coaches here had good relationships with them, so I just kind of wanted to get into it a little bit.
Tell the listeners about your junior hockey experience. You were in Wyoming for, was it 3 seasons?
Yep. Yeah, so I played out there in the NA3 AHL for 3 years, and we had a really successful team every year. We made it to the national tournament 2 of the 3 years, and the 1 year we got 3rd, so it was really fun. Would do it all over again. So.
Well, Fergus has had a number of kids go out and play junior hockey, some playing junior hockey now, obviously, and some playing collegiately also. How much of that conversation do you have with some of the current hockey players, maybe not at the JV level yet, but the varsity guys? I'm sure a lot of them, especially the upperclassmen, are thinking, hey, is this something I want to try? How much can you help them make those plans?
I definitely want to help a lot. So I know a lot about, especially the NA3, and a little bit about Tier 2 stuff in the U.S. So I'll try to do my best to help them, just like do their research of what teams need guys and where do they pull guys out of, and just simple things like that you don't think of when you're going through it in the beginning.
A lot of opportunities, aren't there, out there now? Because it seems like there's more junior teams now than there ever have been.
Yeah, there's crazy amount of junior teams everywhere in every league.
Yeah, and college hockey isn't going to be for everyone, obviously, but juniors give you that great option right out of high school, especially. Maybe you want to do college, but you're not quite physically ready. Juniors is a great place to get that.
Yeah, it definitely is. And it's a great place to go and mature a little bit before you really think about what you want to do in life. Like if you just go to college and you don't really know what you're doing there, I kind of think it's wasting your time a little bit. So at least with juniors, it gives you something to go do and think about your life a little more too.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you had such a positive experience there. How did I could talk to Isaac about his game and his experience the whole time here, and we'll get back to the Otters in a second, but I'm just curious how you saw your game grow in juniors from when time you left to Fergus Falls after you graduated in 2021. Where did you become a better hockey player?
I think with like my individual skills got way better, and like timings throughout the ice, and just kind of simple things that you wouldn't really think about, like where to shoot more often or where to pass a puck off the boards, or thinking about like getting to open space instead of just trying to get down the ice. Just kind of simple things like that you don't really think of when you're kind of playing high school hockey. It kind of makes the game easier for you.
And those things make a difference, in the big picture, the little things. So So let's talk about last week. You had just one game, the game against Crookston, a 3-1 victory. Holden Stenstrom was on his game in the net. And, through years of experience as a player and now as a coach, how important it is to have a hot goalie you can ride. And Holden really had a strong game.
Yeah, Holden played great that game. A lot of really nice saves. Made all the easy ones look really easy, which is important.
And your offense, too. You had 36 shots on goal in that game. So are you getting quality scoring opportunities out of those shots?
Yeah, we definitely are. At the start of the year, we were struggling with that, but recently we've been doing a lot better of getting inside, getting to the middle, and creating a lot more rebounds and opportunities in tight.
Let's redo the goal here summary. Nolan Wadle got the Otters the first goal right away for 6 minutes into the game. Jack Weldy and Bennett Tilke assisted. Is that a line that's been together for a while here this year, or is it just coming together?
That one was just last week, I'm pretty sure. It was a lot of injuries and sicknesses, and I know Weldy jumped up on the rush and got down low behind the net and then passed it over to Nolan, and he buried it. So
How big is it to get a goal early like that in a game at home, especially?
It's huge, especially out of like a third line.
Yeah.
It takes a little pressure off the first line guys and lets them know that they don't have to carry the whole load that game, which is very beneficial for them. And, getting an early lead is great every time.
One of the things we love to say as announcers is when you have a 1-goal lead, no matter what the score is or where it's at in the game, we like to say the next goal is a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever gets it, because if we get it, it's 2-0. If they get it, brand new game.
Yeah.
Didn't take long for the Otters in the second period. Aiden Shaky got a goal less than a minute in, and Aiden has really stepped it up offensively.
Yeah, he's been playing really well, getting a lot of scoring chances and capitalizing on a lot of them. So it's good to see.
And Jack and Adam Kennedy had assists on that goal, and you mentioned Jack stepping up, making things happen,
Mm-hmm.
and Adam seems to be Mike told me earlier this week that he seems to be coming into his own, trying to figure things out and making some things happen offensively.
Yeah, he definitely is. We've been working with him with film and just simple things throughout the game to try to help him out because he's got all the utilities to be a really good hockey player. So we're just trying to get him to get to that next step.
And he got a goal in that one. Was that an empty netter?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, because Crookston trying to come back there. You're up 2-1 late, and Adam took advantage of it. And how hard is that, Isaac? You've been in that situation and scored a few, I'm sure, in your career. But you get that puck, and you've got a wide open net down there. You don't want to miss that net.
Yeah, it definitely makes you think. Right, you can go before practice and shoot pucks all the way down the ice and make it 9 times out of 10, but the minute you got a little pressure on you, it really makes you think.
Right. Well, I'm glad you put it in there then. Crookston's goal was on the power play. How would you assess what the Otters are doing with the penalty kill and with your power play? What are the special teams like as far as the progress you're seeing there?
We're definitely struggling a little bit with it. We're putting a lot of work with it in film and in practices. Our PK are trying to get guys to buy into blocking shots, and that's hard to get guys to do. So we're really working on that. And then our power play, we're trying to get them to just simplify it, make it easier on them instead of trying to force everything and do it themselves, try to use each other and move the puck to one another and just make it simple.
Is that working pretty well? Are they getting more opportunities on the man advantage?
I think it's definitely getting better.
Okay.
But we'll see this week.
You mentioned injuries and illnesses. What's the status right now for the Otters injury-wise? Are you going to be missing some people for the holiday tournament? Are you getting people back?
I think we should have everybody back. I know Tanner Donahue has been fighting with like a bone bruise in his ankle, but he got cleared to skate. And I know Brock Schurman had something with his knee, so hopefully he'll be good to go too. And it sounds like everyone's getting better with their sicknesses, so we should have a healthy lineup.
You need it with 3 games in 3 days, right?
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, this is a challenge, isn't it, this holiday tournament? You participated in 3 of them, I imagine, or 4 maybe, counting JV.
I think it was just 2 because we didn't have that my senior year.
Oh, that's right,
year.
COVID. Yeah, sure, that messed everything up.
Yeah.
But, so, yeah, what's the mindset? What do you tell the kids about 3 games in 3 days? How does it affect what you do as coaches as far as, length of shifts, things like that?
I mean, yeah, you definitely got to use all 3 of your lines, especially in the first games, and try to keep them short, especially later in the games. Keep your top guys fresh. And I think the biggest thing is after the games, they got to make sure they're drinking a lot of water and eating the right stuff to stay ready to go for the next day.
One thing about this tournament, you get to see some teams you don't normally get to see. I mean, you got Albert Lee and Becker, I know, the first 2 days. I don't know who the third day is. Maybe you do.
I think it's Breck Wap.
Breck Wap, okay.
Yeah.
So you've got some teams that you're not that familiar with. How exciting is that as a player to be able to play teams you don't see regularly?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot more fun, right? I mean, the teams you play around here, you usually know half the team just from playing against them your whole life. So it's nice to go play guys you don't know. There's less of a connection. You can just go play and worry about yourself. So that's always fun.
And, of course, when you're doing that, there probably are some on-ice adjustments during the game when you pick something out that is their strength or a weakness that you can exploit. Is this team that you're working with now good at on-ice adjustments during the game? Is it something that you can get them aside and say, hey, guys, we got to do this, this, and this, and they'll go out and do it?
Yeah, I definitely think so. We have a couple different forechecks that we'll run depending on what the other team is doing or a couple different breakouts plays. So we can definitely pull guys aside on the bench and say, hey, do this instead of that now, and they'll go out and do it. So that's nice.
Awesome. Well, we're looking forward to it. It should be a fun weekend. Starts Thursday, actually. Otters play at 7 Thursday and Friday against Albert Leonbecker, and then 4 o'clock Saturday against Breck Wap. And we'll have all the games on our Leighton media stations. Of course, Bob Roars will be covering those games because Mark Johnson will be down with the Otter girls covering those games. They got a lot of tournament stuff going on, but should be a good few days. Enjoy the tournament, Isaac, and the rest of the season coaching. Thanks for coming in and filling in for Mike Donahue. He likes to give his assistant coaches assignments.
Yeah.
That's all right. You filled it well. So
perfect.
Appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, thank you.
Good to catch up. Isaac Young, assistant coach to Mike Donahue, former Otter, joining us here on our Coaches Show on News Talk 1250 KBRF and streaming live on the Fergus Now app.
Take control of your wellness journey with expert tips for success at unveiledlocal.com. Practice mindfulness, slowing down and enjoying the most wonderful time of the year instead of rushing from one gathering to the next. Navigate the loneliness and isolation that can come with the holidays. Discover how to help yourself and others with positive holiday mental health. Unveiled Local is dedicated to inspiring and guiding individuals toward a balanced and fulfilling lifestyle. Visit unveiledlocal.com today for resources to make this holiday season your healthiest yet. Unveiledlocal.com.
The Friends and Family Sale is going on now at Minnesota Motor Company in Fergus Falls. All 2024 vehicles in stock are listed at their lowest prices of the year. Save big on Chevrolet vehicles like Silverado trucks, Suburbans, Tahoes, and more. It is the perfect time to treat yourself to a new ride. Contact the sales team at Minnesota Motor Company for details. Together, let's drive. South Pebble Lake Road, Fergus Falls. This holiday season, Minnesota Motor Company has the gifts everyone is going to love. Give a gift of GM floor liners or a complete detail, and you will be gifted a $100 car wash gift card that you can keep for yourself or gift to someone else. Purchase a $100 car wash card and receive a $20 car wash card free. Your holiday shopping is covered. South Pebble Lake Road, Fergus Falls.
High quality local embroidery for your community. Running Stitches is the choice for everything, from business logos to team apparel and personal projects. They bring your designs to life. Andrew and Allison Olson from Running Stitches Embroidery are proud supporters of local sports.
Back on our Coaches Show Saturday morning, Donovan Rogdes is making his debut on the show. I don't think you've ever been on with us, have you, Don? Or did you come on as an assistant?
First timer.
You're a first timer.
Yeah.
Hey, that doesn't happen often. You know, we should have a bell you ring or something. I don't know.
Maybe I'll ring that on the way out if I have a success story here.
Right. Donovan's a former Comet himself, but he's a head coach of the Hillcrest boys basketball team, assisted Ryan Garvin for 5 years, and now is man in the top spot with a Comet team that is different from last year. You lost your two top scorers, I know, from last season. You have a different mix this year. How would you describe, the type of a team you have this year, Donovan, and how does it differ from last year?
Yeah, our team this year is a very selfless team. They've loved playing with each other, for each other. They love to move the ball. Many of times in our 35-second shot clock, we're getting a shot with 5 and under, and not because it's a bad shot, because that's where we find our best shot, is just working the ball around. It's different because, last year with Luke and Noah on the team, they had that feeling that when it was time to shoot the ball, that they were ready to shoot the ball. And we have a team this year that has a mentality more of how do I get it to my teammate? How do I be, how am I able to make them successful? And sometimes we have to encourage them, you know what, like, it's okay to shoot the ball. Like, you're open, let's take the shot. Let's not make that one extra pass, which I would say is probably a gift to have, and we'll work through that and we'll get that. But love the way our guys play.
So where are you going to get your points? Are you a three-point shooting team? Are you a team that has more success driving to the basket? Are we developing some mid-range jumper shot people that can make those 15-footers?
Yeah. So we're gonna get a lot. Our goal is to get a lot of points off of transition turnovers. So we're a team that's gonna. We've got some great athletic guards, and we're gonna pressure the ball, and we're gonna learn to rotate on the backside and try to get some steals off our press and push the ball up. Our three-point shooting is improving. We're doing well in that. We take a lot of good three-pointers, not forced ones. But I think our goal is just to be a high-pressure team and just really try to wear people down by the second half.
So when you play that style, hopefully you have some depth, right? And you give your frontline guys a little breather and not skip a beat when you come off the bench. How is your depth right now? And do you feel pretty confident about being able to, bring guys in to keep that tempo up?
Yeah, I love our depth. We have, I would say that we have 7 consistent players. Our 8, 9, and 10 don't get quite as many minutes, but just so much appreciate their ability to continue to work hard and get us better in practices and on the bench when they're doing what they need to do to support the team. But yeah, I think our guard depth is great. We can rotate those guys in and out and keep that pressure up full court. And if a guy's getting tired, we can maybe push him to the backcourt for a little bit out of the way. But yeah, I think our depth is where we like it.
Is this going to be a strong rebounding team?
We emphasize rebounding a lot in practices, and I don't think I'd have to go back and double check our stats, but I would say that we're winning most rebounding competitions with people. Always room for improvement, with a lot of guard play. We don't have those big bodies inside that are ready to grab the board, but our aggressiveness and our fight for the ball is really big.
So tell us about your leaders. Who kind of makes you go out there? You talked about the transition game. Who do you look to kind of create that type of a game?
Yeah, that's a fun question because we've got, when I look back at our scores, if we've had 5 games so far, 3 of our leading scorers have actually come off the bench at times. Okay. And so we've got a team that's that anybody can really score the basketball. But I would say our main driver for our team is Sean Berge. When he's on the floor, his intensity is contagious to our teammates. So we love when he's on the floor. He's had a few games where he gets in foul trouble, and I think as he matures in his game as a starter and as a top athlete like him, he's going to figure that out a little better. So we're not going to get in his head and tell him he can't do this, can't do that, because he's going to figure that out. Last night he had an excellent performance. He led our team in points. I think he finished with 21 points last night against Ada. Really aggressive, taking it to the hole, and really, really strong defense. But yeah, we've got anyone that can score. I mean, Kean Stenners had some nice scoring debuts. Zane Holmquist had some nice scoring times coming off the bench, and we've got a supporting cast that's all around them. So
you beat Brandon Evansville 59-56 earlier this week, and then lost last night 71-59 up at Ada against Ada Borup West. Yep. Against Brandon Evansville, you had some clutch play. Lincoln Nash had a couple of free throws for you late in the game to give you a little bit of a cushion there. And you've mentioned a lot of guys already, but it's fun to see kids step up in those situations when the pressure's on and, hey, they help their team out.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and again, as we're developing our new identity, the guys are stepping into these roles for the first time. And only having 5 games under our belt, I'm super proud of the way that they are accepting their leadership role, and they're doing a great job at that. At the end of the Brandon game there, I think Lincoln went to the free throw line. He missed 2 with maybe a minute or 2 left, but then we got him back the ball, and I was super confident in him that he was going to be able to make his 2 when he went to the line the last time, and he did. So he's a great shooter for us.
You struggled in the first half against Brandon Evansville with turnovers, but you settled down. And is this a team that adjusts pretty well during the battle? Donovan, can you take them aside and make adjustments and see it play out?
Yeah. So one of our boulders for our team is to be coachable, and our guys are incredibly coachable. So when we get in situations where we find ourselves in trouble and we talk to our kids, they're super receptive. And they know what they need to do. Sometimes their adrenaline in their bodies kind of push them into situations where we don't like foul trouble, for instance. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to the turnover game, when we create turnover and then we push the ball in transition, sometimes that's where we get our bad passes because we have our momentum going. And again, that's where the young part of our team plays in. And as we mature, I think our turnovers are gonna lessen for sure. But yeah, I think it's just because we're such a high activity team that's where we get those. But we'll figure that out.
Little 8 conference. I know Ashby's off to a great start.
Yeah,
They're undefeated in the conference and overall, I think, right now. But how do you assess the competition in the conference right now? And you haven't seen everybody firsthand, I know, but you got a good knowledge of what the conference has back, I'm sure.
Yeah, the conference has a whole new look this year. You know, we've got I would say Brand Evansville is a top contender. Ashby's been doing great. We would love to consider ourselves in that mix because we're just going to hustle and work hard. And so we're excited. After our Christmas break, we get to face Ashby, so we'll see how that is. Kellen's got a great team in Underwood, so we're going to battle with them coming up shortly after that too. So conference is going to be fun.
It'll be interesting for sure. Lots of good athletes out there in this conference.
Yep.
So your numbers at Hillcrest, what are you working with as far as, looking at your JV team, your C squad, your junior high program? What are the numbers like?
Yeah, we are. This year for the varsity, starting the varsity, we are heavy junior. We have just a couple seniors. We have a lot of juniors on the squad. When I look at the JV, we got a few sophomores, and C squad's got a good number of freshmen coming up. And I haven't seen the J-Hub program yet because they haven't started, but it sounds like we got between 7th and 8th grade, we probably got 10, 13 guys that are coming out, and haven't seen them, but excited to see what they got too.
What's your coaching staff look like?
Yeah, so I got Sam Nash this year. He's my lead assistant. He's incredible. He's like my biggest encourager. Just I need him as a first year coach, like knowing I'm making mistakes and him just encouraging me along the way. I really appreciate that. Andy Stender is our JV coach and does a great job of just giving me some X's and O's knowledge, especially through the game. When we call a full timeout, I'll have Coach Nash go in there, do some encouragement stuff with the guys, and then Andy and I will just talk some strategy. And then, so I really appreciate him, and he's also my techie guy, so he helps me out with the huddle and gets all that stuff done, which is great. And then Nate Selvig coaches our C squad, and is doing a great job. Just his demeanor with the boys and making sure that they are having great body language and just having fun. Just a great person to lead the young guys. And so then of course we have a few. Daniel Berge and Thomas Weirs help us as a volunteer status with the varsity. And so I have a great support staff around me.
I sense a little bit of a Hillcrest connection there.
Yeah, it's funny how that works.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love that when that happens.
Yeah.
And Isaac Young here, former Otter, back coaching with the Otter hockey team, and Dan Sternberg coaches former Otters in there, and now former Comets in the mix. I just love to see that happen.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
So you're the head coach for the first time. What's the difference that you're noticing early on from being an assistant role to taking over the head job?
There's a huge difference. Yeah. Last year when I was with Ryan, I would show up to practice and he'd hand me a practice plan, and I would look for, my job was to kind of just watch details of the players and try to critique and encourage them in their small details. Ryan would handle everything, and then I would go home and sleep well at night. And now as the varsity, I'm super thankful for what I'm able to do. But as the varsity, just you're practice planning days in advance, and then you're changing your plans again because you saw something different, and just a lot more on the plate. But
media bugging you all the time.
Yeah, man. Just if I could ever get my stories right for Craig Olson Sports, I'd just be a lot smoother.
No, it is an adjustment, isn't it?
It is. But I'm thankful for it. Again, because I have the people around me, it makes it so much easier. And I'll hats off to my team. Like the players are such great kids to coach. Like their willingness to come out and work hard, and the willingness to have fun when we can have fun. We talk about this, and then their ability to lock in when we need to lock in. Like sometimes practices, high school kids, you get a little squirrely, you get a little silly. There's some goofy stuff that happens, and so I'll let that go a little bit. But they can turn the switch, and that's a gift for a coach. So many good things.
So how do you handle the next stretch here? Because you don't play again till a week from today.
A week from today, we head down to St. Cloud for a breakout tournament, and we play Mountain Iron Buell. Don't know much about them yet, other than that they are in the same section as Cherry. Cherry's the #1 team in Class A, I believe, right now.
Yep.
Playing really well, undefeated again. And Mountain Iron Buell gives them a little bit of a challenge. And so they're a high-tempo team from what I understand, but we'll dive into them this week and try to prepare as best we can. And then we've got a bunch of conference games coming after that where we can settle in and do our 15-minute drives to games instead of hour and a half.
There you go. That's kind of a nice road trip, isn't it? So, I think Hillcrest, and I think back through the years, sometimes at the Christmas break, guys would go home
Yeah.
out east, wherever they're coming from to go to Hillcrest. Some are around here, of course, and I think a number of you guys are.
Yeah.
But do you have to deal with that, absences, lineup adjustments during a break time like this?
Yeah. With the boys that we have now, not really. Most of
Okay.
our guys are local kids, and so we don't have any. The C squad has got some dorm kids in it that take off and go home or whatever. But yes, I remember those days when I
Yeah.
was playing. We had a lot more dorm kids, and we would be like, "Well, we're 4 varsity guys short for this tournament. It's super challenging." But no, now we're local heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of times in the past, Hillcrest didn't play during the break because there were a number of kids that were gone, and you wound up having like a 2.5 week break from the last time you
Yeah.
played. It's like starting the season over again,
Yeah, that was definitely like that when I was in high school, and even this year, like we've got a 1 week break between games, and even that is like kind of like challenging. I told the guys last night after the game, I said, you've been working super hard at conditioning your body for this sport, like. Please don't just lay on the couch for the next 4 days, So when we come back, we've got this big game, and then all of a sudden we're just stuck in wind the whole time. So hopefully they'll hear this and as another reminder and challenge themselves to move a little bit here.
Christmas goodies in moderation.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
Coaches don't have to worry about that, but
No, because we
players
don't have
do.
to worry about our endurance.
That's
We just
right.
have to worry about our voices, and sugar's
right.
good for our voices, right?
There you go. I
Keep
think
it.
that's right.
Uh-huh.
Hey, Donovan, thanks for stopping by this morning, and Merry Christmas to the Rognus family and
Thank you.
your coaches and players, and we'll look forward to connecting with you, well, in a few weeks.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to you, Craig, and thank you for
you.
all you do.
Appreciate it. Donovan Rognus of the Hillcrest boys basketball team. We're going back to hockey. Tim Lill will talk about the Otter girls on the other side of the break. You are listening to the Coaches Show on Newstalk 1250 KBRF and streaming live on the Fergus Now app.
Quality Toyota is proud to salute the achievements of each quality player. It takes teamwork to compete, and the Quality Player Award recognizes the extra effort by an individual in each athletic contest. Quality Toyota commends the hard work, dedication, and quality efforts of these outstanding youth. That attitude will help each quality player as they go forward. Congratulations to each of the quality players from Quality Toyota on West Lincoln Avenue in Fergus Falls. QualityToyota.net. Let's go places.
We all inherit things from our parents. Maybe it's your mom's smile or your dad's eyes. But what if it was something serious?
Our mom was diagnosed with lung cancer over 20 years ago, but she wasn't the only one. Our great aunt and uncle, our grandmother, and our great grandfather all had lung cancer too. Inherited lung cancer risk hasn't been well researched. We joined the Inherit study to change that.
It's easy to participate and will help improve screening and treatment. Learn more at goto.org/inherit.
I get my flu shot because I have asthma, and anyone with an underlying medical condition like me has a much higher risk of getting really sick from the flu.
I get my flu shot to protect myself and my mom and dad. Because when you're older, getting the flu can be dangerous, even deadly.
I get my flu shot because it's easy, and I don't want to miss out on all the holiday fun with my friends.
Flu vaccination is recommended for everyone 6 months and older. Schedule yours today and learn more at lung.org.
Welcome back to the program. Tim Lill is joining us, head coach of the Otter girls hockey team. They were in a battle with Crookston on Tuesday, and the Pirates got out of here with a 5-2 victory. Tim, let's look at that. The goalie for Crookston, pretty good. I think you mentioned on the post-game comments with Mark, best goalie you've seen this year.
Yeah, she was fantastic. Very skilled. When we got 2 by her, and I don't think we were going to get any more. We had to work pretty hard for those 2. But yeah, credit to her. She was good.
Were you getting some quality shots on her?
Yeah, I think we had 29 total shots. A lot of them grade A's. We just, we didn't put it in the right spot. Sometimes you make goalies look good, when you bury it in their belly. But no, we had a lot of good looks. But those good goalies, they know where the shooters are going before they even shoot, and she has that instinct. So we had a tough time.
Well, you got a power play goal from Maddie Grinigal with Rachel DeBrito assisting on that. How is the power play? How would you assess what's happening there and that goal in particular?
Well, we had a lot of good looks in our drawn-up play that it put us right in the slot. Hannah Johnson and just like we drawed up, but she was on to us there. And that came from actually a DeBrito dropped it to Grinigal, and she just took a slapper right on the ice. And I believe Maddie Brimhall tipped that in, but it went through traffic, and he was on the ice, so that's how we got one of them.
You've kind of been preaching that a lot too, haven't you? Keep the shot on the ice.
That's where it's at. Is you know, these goalies and their big blockers and their big gloves and all these pads, and they're skilled up high, and it's a lot of work when you shoot it on the ice, and they got to get down and get those pads out, and the legs are not as quick as the hands. I know that. So it'd be nice if we did that more, but we'll get there.
Yeah, you know, you think of the equipment, and when you were playing, I don't think goalies had quite the big equipment they have now. But you
We
look
didn't
at
have
it,
anyone when I played, Craig. It was that long ago.
but you look as a player, you're carrying the puck, and you look at the net, and all you see is the goalie. You can't even see the net because they cover the whole net.
Yeah, it's pretty big, and it's light, and yeah. Advantage goalie always.
Unless you're a goalie, you think that the other guys had the advantage. But Ashlyn Wohlers got her first varsity goal. How did that come about?
That was a great forecheck by, we've been switching lines around, believe it or not, but
Really?
trying to find the right mix. And I made an adjustment there in the third and put Nelson up with Johnson and Tonneson. And then so Brimhall had Scholl and Wohlers, and they had a great third period. They were deep on the forecheck. I think all three were involved, and then Brimmy got a puck behind the net and just whipped it out front, and Asheville was in the right spot and just buried it for her first varsity goal. So everyone had a lot of fun with that.
Well, and that made it 3-2. I mean, you were right there at that point against this Crookston team that had built the lead on you. What kind of turned the tables? Was it Jocelyn Field? You just couldn't stop her that night.
It was. She's so quick. Because we dictated a lot of play. They I think they were up 2-0. We got it 2-1, and within a minute they put it to 3-1. So we worked our tails off to get it to 3-2, and then they got another one. So we like I said, we dictated play, but if we made a mistake, we paid for every one of them, like 4 goals that. A defensive breakdown, not just on the defenseman, but an errant passer. We weren't quite sure what we were going to do with it, and they grabbed it and neutralized, and they were gone. And I think all 4 of their goals were either breakaways or real close to it. So me didn't really have a chance on those either.
Yeah, Jocelyn Field with 4 goals. Then was the last one an empty netter that they got? Yeah,
it was an empty netter. We tried to put her together there with. Tried to score 2 goals in 47 seconds. I didn't think it was going to work, but you got to try, right?
It's hard, but it's happened before.
You never know.
No,
you got to give it a shot.
And Crookston, give them credit. They're 7-1. They're obviously playing some pretty good hockey. How would you rate that team as a whole? You talked about the goalie, but Crookston's team, where do they stand in your eyes?
They're right there with everyone else we've played. Brainerd and Alec and Crookston and all of them. They're real close to 1-goal games. Even if we've lost, we've outshot those opponents. Every game has just been a grind, and they're right there. And advantage there is the goaltending. So they're a scary team, and they have a first-year coach. I got to meet him. He was a great guy, and I said, you just keep working because that girl is hard to beat. And they have to go through Warroad eventually, but their team speed was fantastic. They were the quickest team I've seen all year.
Well, one thing that Otter fans know about your program is you're going to have a stiff regular season schedule because that's the way you want it. You want your kids to get tough and playoff ready, and these teams are going to make you better. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. I told the girls, we were getting beat up. There could have been some calls that didn't go our way, but so what, right? So we're getting banged around, and the girls thought they were going to start whining about the ref, and I said, nope. I said, you're in a hockey game now. Let's go. This is a real one. So, you either rise to it or fold up, and the girls, we fought hard. We just couldn't put the puck in the net, but we learned a lot that game. They were sour after that loss, which is what we want, right?
Yep.
Well, I want other people to be able to pout with me, Craig. But no, they said, all right, we'd like to see them again, even though we won't this year. But next time we play, we'll get a chance to maybe be a little harder team.
Well, you've got a challenge now this weekend with 3 games in 3 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, that holiday tournament on the road. There's a lot of challenges that go along with playing in a tournament like this.
Yeah, there is. The good thing is we've been there, I don't know how many years, staying at the same hotel, having the same schedule, kind of knowing. So there's too many surprises, but, getting them, to bed at the right time and taking those phones away so they're not on them all night. Breakfast and, feeding them, get them to the rink, seeing opponents that we don't know anything about except for Bemidji, but it's a good time. They get to hang out with each other, and we have a spoons tournament, and they have a dance contest. They get to do some fun stuff too. Sure. So it's a good team bonding deal, and right during the holidays it's a good time for it. So we're all excited.
Yeah, and of course to test your endurance with 3 games in 3 days on the ice. And how do you adjust for a tournament schedule like that? As far as, do you limit shift time a little more in the early games so that you have something left for day 3, or how do you approach that?
Go to you.
Just regular.
Day 3 doesn't matter if you don't win on day 1. Right? Just, let's go. We got to get after it. And these kids have been playing all through youth hockey. They play weekend tournaments, and they're used to that, and they're still young. You're a teenager. Get over it. Suck it up.
You want to play, right?
Game, right? Yeah. It's. Practices are a lot harder than games. So
true.
If you can practice 3 days in a row, you can play 3 days in a row. That's my opinion. I guess I've never asked theirs.
So, what do you do about the goalie situation in a 3-day tournament like that?
Ask Casa what she wants to do.
Okay.
She'll have a plan for it, and she watches them all in practice, and being a former goalie, and maybe she knows if they get tired or not. That's what's so nice about it is I leave it up to her, and she'll put the right kid in the net at the right day, and I've got my hands full with all my forwards that need to score more goals. Then we don't have to worry about goalies, right?
Yeah, it's not like she has to worry about switching the lines around like you do. So.
Yeah, even though she has some of her opinions once in a while, but that's
every
right.
now and then, yeah. Let's see, the JV tournament goes on also during those 3 days. So that's a great opportunity for your younger players.
It is, and these are bigger programs, so they'll have a true JV team where when we play up north here, and if you only have 20 to 25 kids, you have a lot of varsity players playing JV periods.
Yep.
Just so that you can feel the team, which everyone has to do it, But we only have a couple kids that play a period here or there. But these bigger programs will have a true JV team. So it's nice that our JV players are playing that caliber. It's trying to hold up against varsity players. So it's really good for the goalies, too. I look forward to it. It's a lot of fun.
Mark Johnson will be down in the cities. This is at the New Hope Arena. Is that right, where they play these?
That's true.
So Mark will be there all 3 days to broadcast 5 o'clock Thursday, 5 o'clock Friday, and then 12:45 on Saturday. Those are the times I was given. Osceola's your first-round opponent. You mentioned Bemidji is there. What other teams are involved that you're aware of?
Well, yeah, it's Bloomington Jefferson and Bemidji. We'll play the winner-loser of that, however our game goes. There's a Park Center and Hastings and some of those on the other side.
Okay.
I look at the first one, and then I know Coach Hirschner, he could rattle them all off, and he looks into all that stuff. But I'll get him prepped for the first one, and we'll go from there.
What's the injury update, the health update on the Otters? Are you doing all right other than Lydia Johnson?
Besides Lydia, Maggie Grinigal got a little banged up. She missed most of the second period against Crookston, which by the way, Kinsey Zender stepped in right back there and played fantastic. And she was a little sore, a little foggy, but she finished that game. But I think missing that DL game Thursday was a good thing for everyone. They're all coughing and hacking, and a few injuries like that. So I think that day off was kind of a blessing.
Makeup date for that one?
I think it was January 31st or something.
I think you're right. Yep, Derek.
Way down the road.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So you get it in, but just not when it was supposed to be. But,
yeah.
And probably timing is everything. Maybe it wasn't too bad a place if you're going to have a postponement there. All right, sir. Well, enjoy your trip to the cities and your 3 games in 3 days. We'll look forward to listening to the action and getting the results and getting back home for a few games after the first of the year, too.
The real banger is tonight at 5. I have my alumni game. So all these girls are coming back, and boy, we have such a fun time with that. I think there's 13 or 14 for sure signed up, and there'll be a couple stragglers come in. The ones that were always late for practice, 5, 6, 7 years ago, they'll be there a little late too. But it's a lot of fun. So we're going to do that tonight.
Sounds good. Very good, Tim. Thanks for coming in. Merry Christmas to the Lils.
Thank you. You too.
Well, coming up today, it's Bison football, the Bison and SDSU, the semifinals. And, that's here on News Talk 1250 KBRF. And you'll hear the pregame starting at 10. And then tomorrow, the Vikings are at 3:05 on Real Rock Z103 as they take on the Seattle Seahawks. And the pregame coverage begins at 2 o'clock tomorrow on Real Rock Z103. And again, Bison today, 11 a.m. for the kickoff from Gate City Bank Stadium at the Fargo Dome against SDSU, the 2-time defending national champions. Oh, they're going to have their hands full today. Should be a great game. Be sure to tune in. And we'll be off for 2 weeks here. The next 2 weeks, no coaches show back in early January. And we'll ride it out the rest of the winter season every Saturday after that here on News Talk 1250 KBRF and streaming live on the Fergus Now app. Thanks for listening. Merry Christmas.
I get my flu shot because I had asthma, and anyone with an underlying medical condition like me has a much higher risk of getting a really sick flu.
I get my flu shot to protect myself and my mom and dad. Because when you're older, getting the flu can be dangerous, even deadly.
Hello, I get my flu shot because it's easy, and I don't want to miss out on all the holiday fun with my friends.
I get my flu shot because I had asthma, and anyone with an underlying medical condition like me has a much higher risk of getting a really sick flu.
I get my flu shot to protect myself and my mom and dad. Because when you're older, getting the flu can be dangerous, even deadly.
I get my flu shot because it's easy, and I don't want to miss out on all the holiday fun with my friends.
Flu vaccination is recommended for everyone 6 months and older. Schedule yours today and learn more at lung.org.
News, weather, sports, and farm information. News Talk 1250 AM KBRF Fergus Falls. Depend on it. Portions of today's program may be pre-recorded.
I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki with your forecast from the KBRF Weather Center. Cloudy skies expected today with daytime highs approaching 17. Southeasterly winds 10 to 20 miles per hour. Lows level off around 13. Tonight, partly cloudy skies. Daytime highs approaching 25. Tomorrow, cloudy skies with a few peaks of sun. A dusting of snow tomorrow night. Currently, it's 12 degrees.
This holiday season, Minnesota Motor Company has the gifts everyone is going to love. Give the gift of GM floor liners or a complete detail, and you will be gifted a $100 car wash gift card that you can keep for yourself or gift to someone else. Purchase a $100 car wash card and receive a $20 car wash card free. Your holiday shopping is covered. Minnesota Motor. South Pebble Lake Road, Fergus Falls.
I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki with your forecast from the KBRF Weather Center. Cloudy skies expected today with daytime highs approaching 17. Southeasterly winds 10 to 20 miles per hour. Lows level off around 13. Tonight, partly cloudy skies. Daytime highs approaching 25. Tomorrow, cloudy skies.